If you're the person everyone calls when their world falls apart, but no one calls when yours does, you're about to become the most dangerous type of person Jung ever studied. Carl Jung documented that when empaths finally stop absorbing everyone else's pain, they don't become cruel or heartless. Instead, they develop what he called shadow integration, becoming completely immune to manipulation while keeping their empathic gifts. This terrifies everyone who's been using them. Today, I'll reveal Jung's 4-stage transformation that turns exhausted empaths into untouchable psychological sovereigns, why this makes people panic, and the exact signs you're going through this dangerous awakening right now. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the quietest empaths are often the most powerful, and how to protect your empathic gifts without sacrificing yourself for others' comfort. Are you exhausted from pretending you're fine when you're falling apart inside? Tired of being everyone's emotional support system while your own needs get ignored? Jung discovered something that will validate every frustrated moment you've experienced. Empaths who reach their breaking point don't become heartless. They become what he called dangerously whole. Through his clinical practice, Jung documented hundreds of cases where empaths transformed from emotional sponges into what he termed sovereign empaths. These weren't people who shut down emotionally. They developed something far more threatening to those who exploited them. You've been the emotional dumping ground for everyone in your life. It feels like drowning, while everyone expects you to be their life raft. Jung discovered this creates what he called shadow integration, embracing the parts of yourself you were taught to reject. But Jung's most disturbing discovery was what triggers this transformation, and it's probably happening to you right now. Here's the shocking fact Jung uncovered. Empaths don't become dangerous when they stop caring about others. They become dangerous when they finally start caring about themselves as much as they care about everyone else. Jung identified what he called the empathy paradox in his work on individuation. He found that people who score highest on empathy also experience the most severe emotional burnout, but only if they never learn to protect their energy. If you've ever felt drained after conversations that should have been enjoyable, or found yourself saying yes when everything inside screams no, you're experiencing what Jung called shadow suppression, rejecting your own needs to maintain your image as the helper. Modern neuroscience confirms Jung's findings. Chronic empaths show hyperactivity in brain regions associated with emotional processing, literally feeling others' pain as their own. But integrated empaths show different patterns. They process emotions in the prefrontal cortex, choosing their responses consciously. Thousands of empaths in our community have shared this exact experience. The moment they realized unlimited availability isn't love, it's self-abandonment. But the real transformation begins when empaths discover Jung's 4-stage danger process. You've been taught that being selfish makes you a bad person. This belief is slowly killing your authentic self, while others benefit from your depletion. Jung discovered 4 stages that transform empaths from emotional absorbers into psychological sovereigns. Jung's 4-stage transformation process. Stage 1, recognition, realizing that chronic giving from emptiness isn't virtue, it's self-betrayal. Stage 2, withdrawal, stepping back from emotional labor without explanation or guilt. Stage 3, integration, embracing the selfish parts of themselves they were taught to reject. Stage 4, sovereignty, operating from conscious choice rather than unconscious compulsion. Jung's recognition test you can use today. Think about your last 5 meaningful conversations. How many times did someone ask how you were doing and actually wait for a real answer? If it's 0 or 1, you're experiencing what Jung called relational extraction, people mining your emotional labor without reciprocating. Take a moment right now. When was the last time you felt truly heard and supported instead of being the one doing the hearing and supporting? Jung observed that most people become deeply uncomfortable around stage 3 and 4 empaths because they can no longer access their emotional labor on demand. But Jung's most disturbing discovery was what happens to relationships during this transformation. If you've ever been told you're too sensitive, but felt like others are too numb, write this in the comments. My sensitivity is my strength, not my weakness. You thought people loved you for who you are. Jung discovered most people actually loved what you did for them. Integrated empaths become living filters that expose the true nature of every relationship. Jung's most shocking insight: when empaths complete their shadow integration, they develop what he called unconscious authenticity detection, the ability to instantly distinguish between people who love them versus people who need them. This creates what Jung termed the relationship filter effect. Sarah from our community shared her experience. The day I stopped explaining my boundaries, half my friends disappeared. The other half said they'd been waiting for me to value myself the way they valued me. The mirror principle. Jung observed that integrated empaths become emotional mirrors, reflecting others' maturity back to them. Healthy people feel safe and inspired around them. Manipulative people feel exposed and often escalate their demands for attention. Why this terrifies others. People who built their emotional stability on your instability suddenly lose their primary coping mechanism. They're forced to either develop genuine relationship skills or remove themselves from your life. Community insight. Marcus from our community described it perfectly. I didn't become cold. I became unavailable for cruelty, both giving it and receiving it. But the most dangerous stage comes when empaths master Jung's ultimate boundary technique. You've been taught that good people always explain and justify their decisions. This belief has been weaponized against you by people who don't respect boundaries anyway. Jung documented a technique that makes integrated empaths seemingly invincible to manipulation. Jung called it the silent boundary, and it's the skill that makes empaths most dangerous to those who've been exploiting them. How Jung's silent boundary works. Instead of explaining, justifying, or defending their boundaries, the integrated empath simply states their reality and allows others to react however they choose. Real example from our community. Jessica shared how this changed everything. When my sister called for the 50th time about her toxic relationship, instead of my usual 2-hour therapy session, I said, "I'm not available for this conversation. No explanation, no timeline, no apology, just reality." The manipulation immunity. Jung called this projection reflection. Manipulation attempts bounce back to the manipulator instead of penetrating the empath's psyche. The person trying to guilt you suddenly has to deal with their own guilt. Why it's so powerful. It forces others to respect your boundary without giving them ammunition to argue with your reasoning. You can't negotiate with someone who isn't negotiating. Practice this today. Next time someone pressures you for emotional labor you don't want to give, try, "I'm not available for that right now," with zero explanation. But Jung discovered something even more threatening about stage 4 empaths. Comment below if you've learned to say no without explaining yourself. My boundaries need no justification. Are you tired of living someone else's definition of what a good person should be? Jung realized that integrated empaths pose an existential threat to social systems built on emotional labor extraction. Society teaches that selflessness requires self-sacrifice. This creates a world where the most caring people suffer the most. Integrated empaths prove this entire system is based on exploitation, not love. 3 social fears. Jung identified fear 1, the productivity threat. If empaths can maintain their caring nature while protecting their energy, it exposes that most selfless behavior is actually codependency disguised as virtue. Fear 2, the relationship revolution. Integrated empaths prove that healthy love doesn't require one person to consistently give more than they receive. This threatens every relationship built on extraction. Fear. 3. The control loss. People who used emotional manipulation discover they have no power over someone who's integrated their shadow. The empath can feel their manipulation without being controlled by it. Another example from our community. Emma from our community noticed, "When I stopped being everyone's unpaid therapist, 3 friends got angry, 2 disappeared, but the remaining relationships became deeper and more genuine than ever before." Jung observed that this creates a ripple effect. Other empaths witness the transformation and begin questioning their own patterns of self-abandonment. Think about your closest relationships. How many would survive if you stopped being the one who always gives more, cares more, tries more? But Jung discovered the most powerful aspect happens in the final stage. You've been afraid that protecting yourself means becoming heartless. This fear has kept you trapped in cycles of emotional depletion. Jung discovered that stage 4 empaths become more loving, not less, because they love from strength instead of desperation. Jung's research revealed that stage 4 empaths develop what he called emotional sovereignty, the ability to choose their emotional responses rather than being controlled by others' emotions. Key characteristics. Jung documented. They feel others' emotions without absorbing them as personal responsibility. They can offer genuine support without taking ownership of outcomes. They love people without needing to fix or save them. They maintain deep compassion while refusing to participate in dysfunction. The integration paradox. Jung noted that sovereign empaths often appear cold to those who benefited from their previous self-abandonment, but they're actually experiencing warmth toward themselves for the first time in their lives. Recent neuroscience studies show that people with integrated empathy process others' emotions in the prefrontal cortex conscious choice area rather than the limbic system, automatic reaction area. They literally think about feelings instead of being overwhelmed by them. Rachel from our community described it. "I thought setting boundaries would make me lonely. Instead, it attracted people who actually appreciate reciprocal relationships. My life got smaller, but infinitely richer." Why this makes you dangerous. You can love people without needing them, support them without enabling them, and care about them without sacrificing yourself. This level of emotional freedom is terrifying to anyone who's built their stability on your instability. But Jung predicted this individual transformation would create something even bigger. If you've learned to feel others' pain without making it your responsibility to fix, comment, "I can love you without losing myself." Jung predicted that as more empaths integrate their shadow, society would be forced to evolve toward healthier relationship dynamics. He called this collective individuation through empath integration. The beacon effect. Integrated empaths become living examples for others drowning in their own compassion, proving it's possible to maintain empathy while protecting your energy. David from our community shared, "When I stopped being my family's emotional mediator, it forced them to actually communicate with each other instead of triangulating through me. Our relationships are more authentic now." As extractive relationship patterns become less sustainable, society gradually moves toward more reciprocal, healthy connection models. Jung saw this as essential for human psychological evolution. Jung pointed to historical figures who maintained compassion while refusing to be martyrs, individuals who changed systems through their example rather than their sacrifice. Every time you choose conscious empathy over compulsive giving, you give others permission to do the same. Your transformation creates ripples that extend far beyond your personal relationships. Jung developed practical guidance for empaths moving through the transformation process. Remember, this isn't linear. You might cycle through stages as you encounter new situations. Stage 1. Recognition. Awakening to the pattern. Start noticing the difference between requests for genuine support versus emotional dumping. Track your energy levels after different types of conversations. Ask yourself, am I responding from love or from fear of rejection? Stage 2. Withdrawal, creating sacred space. Practice saying, I'm not available, without explanation. Start responding to texts when you want to, not immediately. Allow uncomfortable silences instead of rushing to fill them. Stage 3. Integration, embracing your shadow. Accept that being selfish sometimes is necessary for your survival. Stop apologizing for having needs and boundaries. Recognize that disappointing others is better than betraying yourself. Stage 4. Sovereignty. Choose your empathic responses deliberately rather than automatically. Love people without needing to fix their problems. Maintain compassion while refusing to participate in dysfunction. The people who benefited from your old patterns will resist your transformation. This is normal and expected, not a sign you're doing anything wrong. Connect with others who understand your journey. As Tyler from our community said, finding people who celebrated my boundaries instead of testing them changed everything. Comment if you're ready to love others without abandoning yourself. I choose conscious empathy over compulsive giving. Remember Jung's shocking discovery that when empaths finally stop absorbing everyone else's pain, they become the most dangerous type of person Jung ever studied. After decades of studying empath transformation, Jung realized these individuals represent something that threatens every system built on emotional exploitation. Living proof that you can maintain your caring nature while refusing to be used. Jung's research revealed that dangerous empaths don't lose their empathy. They develop what he called conscious empathy that flows from strength rather than desperation, from choice rather than compulsion, from self-love rather than the terror of being alone. Most importantly, Jung discovered that integrated empaths serve an essential function for collective psychological evolution. While others participate in extractive relationship patterns, you model what healthy love actually looks like. You're not broken for feeling overwhelmed by others' emotions. You're not selfish for wanting reciprocal relationships. You're not too sensitive for this world. This world desperately needs empaths who know their worth. Your journey from emotional absorption to conscious empathy isn't just personal healing, it's revolutionary. You become living proof that sensitivity and strength can coexist, that boundaries and love aren't opposites, that caring for others doesn't require disappearing from your own life. The world needs empaths, but it needs empaths who can feel deeply without drowning, love fully without vanishing, give generously without giving themselves away. Share your empathy breakthrough story in the comments. Your experience might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear to begin their own transformation. If this resonated with your journey, watch my video on The Dark Empath, Jung's most terrifying discovery, where I reveal why some people use empathic abilities to manipulate others and how to protect yourself from emotional predators who target empaths specifically. Subscribe to join our community of empaths, learning to honor their gifts while protecting their energy. Because your sensitivity isn't a weakness to manage, it's a superpower to protect and develop. Thanks for watching. See you in the next dimension.